Okay, we're in public, everyone.
Thanks, Clark, and welcome everyone to this meeting of the Education Committee. Agenda item 1 is apologies. Are members aware of any apologies?
Harry Harvey has apologised, Chair.
Okay, thank you. I think that's what
Or
Robin was going to.
delegated his vote. Yeah.
Okay, Justin, did you want to come in there as well?
I think Daniel McCrossan, I was going to say Daniel O'Connell. Daniel McCrossan is, I think he's delegated his vote. I think he sent an email in earlier. He sent his apologies. He sent
No problem. I think he may be in the audience as well, coming in. Daniel, I think he might be present there.
Was he? Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Morning. Agenda item 2 then, members, is chairperson's business. 2.1 is an upcoming Daily Mile event. Can I refer members to correspondence at page 4 of tabled papers in relation to this event, which will be to mark Children's Mental Health Week 2022 with a Daily Mile in Stormont Estate on Wednesday, the 9th of February. The arrangements are the British Psychological Society will be marking Children's Mental Health Week with a Daily Mile in Stormont Estate, and the founder of the Daily Mile, Elaine Wiley MBE, representatives from the Daily Mile Foundation will be present, and a range of schools will be taking part as well. The Daily Mile starts at 12 p.m. I thought it would be really helpful for us to take part in that. Would members be content that we schedule our committee in such a way that we would be able to participate in that Daily Mile at Stormont on next Wednesday at 12 p.m, 12 noon?
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. Excellent. Appreciate that. Okay, members, in terms of other chairperson's business then, I note, as I had raised with the Education Minister yesterday, that week commencing Monday the 24th of January had some of the highest pupil absence rates this academic year. Indeed, I think they may have been the highest absence rates. Approximately 20% of pupils were not in school Monday the 24th to Friday the 20th of January. 40% of all cases in the past 7 days have been in people under the age of 20, and the highest infection rate among all age bands was in girls aged 10 to 14. Just under 1 in every 10 teachers on average was also absent for COVID-related reasons over the week 24th to 20th of January. I raised it with the Minister yesterday, but would members be content for us to write to the Education Minister to seek her urgent response as to what action is being taken in response to absent rates at those levels?
Yes, I would agree with that, Chair.
100%, Chair.
Yep, agreed. Okay. Thanks, members. Okay, then, agenda item 3 is draft minutes of the committee meeting on the 26th of January at page 6 of meeting packs. Can I seek members' agreement that the minutes are a complete and accurate record of proceedings? Agreed? Agreed? If members could give me a audible agreed, that would be great.
Agreed, yeah.
Thank you. And then draft minutes of the committee meeting of the 31st of January at page 6 of your table packs. Members agreed they're a complete and accurate record. Agreed?
Those are the ones of the close by close, everyone. So.
Okay.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you. Okay, there are no matters arising, and agenda item 5 is correspondence. Can I refer members to page 14, where we have 10 items of correspondence and a summary note included at page 15. Clark, do you want to speak to the correspondence?
Members, at item 5.2 on page 23 is correspondence from the Minister of Education regarding COVID-19 safety in schools and staff shortages, and that's a reply to a committee letter of the 6th of January. Members, are there issues that you want to follow up again in that, or is that covered by the action you've just agreed under Chairperson's business to write about pupil numbers?
Yeah, I think that would be covered by that, Clark. If members want to reflect on that letter and add any detail to future correspondence, happy for us to do so. It's a
There was one
reasonably
query that members had about school trips, and I think we haven't got an answer to that yet, but it may not be due yet either. So I think, yeah.
okay. Members content to review that response from the Minister and propose any future correspondence thereafter, yeah? Okay. Thanks, Clark.
Thank you. Item 5.3 on page 26 is correspondence from the Minister announcing the extension of the COVID-19 Childcare Temporary Closure Fund from January to March. So that's something that the committee had been following up on. Item 5.4 on page 55.
Just on that, Clark.
Yeah.
Absolutely a welcome extension of the COVID-19 Childcare Temporary Closure Fund. I'm not entirely sure why it was paused when it was paused, and I guess the key question would be when funds will be received by applicants. If we could go in relation to that.
Sure.
Chair, can I come in
Yes.
quickly?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
It's obviously very welcome, and we've all been kind of pushing for for the closure fund to be extended. But I think we should also make the point that the sustainability fund needs to be reinstated. So I know with the last kind of paragraph there, the minister says she's still keeping it under review, but since last year that has been closed. So again, I think we need to maybe write to the minister again just to remind her how just important that their fund is in particular.
Yeah, I'd be content to support that, Nicola. If members are content, we can return correspondence to ask when the temporary closure funding will be received by childcare providers and support the reintroduction of the Childcare Sustainability Fund. Members content? Agreed. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So item 5.4 on page 55 is a copy of correspondence from the Department for Justice regarding an SL1, secondary legislation for the domestic abuse information sharing with schools, etc. regulations. The draft regulations and explanatory memorandum were drafted in partnership with the Department of Education, Department for the Economy, and the Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs. And I understand that the Department of Education is taking a lead role in that. So members, would you like to write to the department asking for an update on these proposals?
Can do, yeah. Even my understanding that this is in part expansion of the Operation Encompass scheme, which is a school alert scheme for domestic abuse, and so I imagine we'll be fully supportive of the SL1 in this regard. But yeah, happy for us to write to the Department of Education. I presume, that this is at the end of the correspondence. The correspondence is to bring the SL1 to the attention of the Justice Committee, who I presume is the committee that responds to the SL1. It was copied to us, Economy and Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs. Do we need to express a particular position of support in relation to the SL1, or is that for the Justice Committee?
I think it's for the Justice Committee centrally, but certainly in order for the Education Committee to write and say that it is supportive.
Yeah, I think we should do that. I think Operation Encompass is a really important tool in response to the prevention of domestic abuse. Members content to do that?
Content.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Clark.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so there wasn't anything that I was going to flag for action really. Other than that, we do have other correspondence. There's one from the Committee for the Executive Office actually providing an update on developments of the Fair Employment School Teachers Bill. So the committee is going to keep the Education Committee informed of its progress with that bill, and obviously we have already passed over the letters that we wrote to the sector last year to assist with the committee stage of that. And then Lincoln Generations NI, we've been trying to get on the forward
Mark,
work program.
just on that briefly,
Yes,
no desire to overutilise my position as chair of this committee in reference to that private members bill, but maybe just to alert members to the fact that the committee for the executive office has commenced a call for evidence in advance of a potential committee stage in relation to the Fair Employment School Teachers Bill. If members wish to respond to that survey or to alert any interested parties that have been in contact with them in relation to the removal of the exception of teachers from the Fair Employment Treatment Order. And if anybody wants further information from me, more than happy to give it. The department responsible for fair employment law is the executive office, whilst this relates to teachers, and that's why the call for evidence would come from the executive office committee rather than our committee, which saves me having to present to you guys. But yeah, really welcome call for evidence from the committee, and if members wish to respond or alert other people to that, I think it's on the Assembly website and the Executive Office social media platforms as well. Hope that's helpful. Thanks, Clark.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, item 510 actually of table papers is a letter from the Executive Office, Committee of the Executive Office to the department speaking views on the Fair Employment Bill. And we have shared the link for the call for evidence with the Education Committee stakeholders. And also, as the Integrated Education Bill has gone through, we have shared the merged bill and the annotated marshal list and that kind of thing to try to keep stakeholders up to date with all of the legislation that's being processed. So yeah, there's an invitation from Policy Forum for Northern Ireland at page 69, and that's a conference discussing next steps in education. I think that's been rescheduled a couple of times, but that's just for your individual diaries, members. So there's nothing else that I want to highlight. Thanks, Chair.
Can I just raise a
Robbie?
Yep, thank you. Just, yeah, if you don't mind, and that's my lack of ability to use technology probably. I just have that page open, Evan, and the link to the survey, but on the Surface Pro that we have at the moment, the link doesn't take you to it. I take it we have to go into the pack, but not in using that program that we have there. It's just that it's not opening up for me to, because I'd like to share that. I think it's a really important piece. So can that link be shared with us, or the letter shared separately so that we can access it?
Robbie, is that the veto
Yes,
call for evidence, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link now.
Thank you.
Yeah, certainly, no problem.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
as I said, the link is definitely working. Otherwise, Robbie, the Executive Office Committee have a Twitter account, for example, as well as other social media platforms are available. So the link is working via that if you want to access it that way as well. Okay. Members, any other feedback on the correspondence or content to proceed? Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, members.
That's great. Agenda item 6 then, members, is forward work programme. Can I refer members to a draft forward work programme on page 79 of your pack? Clark, do you want to speak to the forward work programme?
Yes, Chair. Just to say that I have added a couple of briefings to it. CCEA, we wanted it to come up relatively soon. On the 2nd of March, we're trying to organise a visit to the planetarium and a discussion about STEM subjects. So there's an organisation called STEAM that we've been getting in contact with who might come to that. And we're also seeing if departmental officials want to come and present their work on STEM. Next week is the joint meeting with the Health Committee and Children's Commissioner, which should finish in time for that Daily Mile at midday. We did want to have a youth engagement about mental health issues, and I'm going to email members about that because next week's plenary just looks prohibitive for external. But anyway, we're trying to also just schedule some of the things that members have been highlighting. So the Department of Education are going to give us a written update on the Gambling with Lives pilot that Robin was interested in. The Children and Young People Strategy officials are coming on the 16th of February. That's rescheduled from the 5th of January. And also we're trying to get those Thrive and Bites projects into the agenda as well.
Right in saying there are 7 Wednesday committee slots left. Yeah. Okay. So if members think there's a key issue or key stakeholder that we should be hearing from before the end of the mandate, make that clear to us. One that does come to mind, Clark, is potentially the Education Authority in relation to special educational needs ongoing work. But if members have any other suggestions, happy to receive those as well. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Members content to agree the forward work programme as amended for now? Agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Okay then, members, agenda item 7 is the Period Products Free Provision Bill, formal consideration of the committee report on the Period Products Free Provision Bill. Can I refer members to correspondence from the Minister of Education regarding proposed amendments to the bill at page 26 of tabled papers, and ask members if they are content to include this correspondence in the committee report on the bill. Agreed? Agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Can I refer members to a draft report on the committee stage of the bill at page 28 of tabled papers, and remind members that as the committee stage is about to conclude, the committee's report must be agreed today. Can I ask members if they're content to proceed into formal consideration? Agreed? Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. Okay then, I'll proceed through the report by section, asking the committee if it is formally content with the report, starting with the contents page at page 29 of tabled papers. Okay, are members content with the contents page as drafted? Agreed? People can give me audible agreeds in particular for this.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Powers and membership is at page 30 of tabled papers. Are members content with this section of the report as drafted? Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Abbreviations and acronyms used in this report are at page 32 of tabled papers. Can I ask members if they are content with this section of the report as drafted, notwithstanding our request for a culture change in relation to acronyms? Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay. Executive summary is at page 33 of tabled papers. Are you members content with this section of the report as drafted? Agreed?
Agreed, Chair.
Okay. Page 36 of tabled papers is the introduction. Members content with this section of the report? Agreed?
Agreed.
Clause by clause scrutiny of the bill is at page 47 of tabled papers. Are members content with this section of the report as drafted? Agreed?
Agreed, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And appendices 1 to 9, are members content with the appendices?
Agreed.
Okay. Clark, prudent at this point to recap our intention to agree the report and write to the Executive Office. So let me seek agreement to order the report on the Period Products Free Provision Bill to be printed as the second report of the mandate. Agreed?
Agreed, Chair.
Agreed. And members agree for an electronic copy of the bill report to be published on the committee's webpage and sent to all organisations that provided evidence to the committee on the bill. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. Clerk, worth us agreeing the action to write to the Executive Office then? Yeah, Pat, do you want to comment to that briefly?
Yes, I would agree after discussion with the Deputy First Minister yesterday, who is very supportive of this bill. I outlined the difficulties that had arisen in terms of which department would take lead responsibility for this bill. And it was suggested that the committee write to the Executive Office. We could, in that letter, explain that whilst the committee had agreed clause 1, which attributes lead responsibility to the health department, we could outline to the Executive Office that health are reluctant to take on that lead responsibility, and we could ask the Executive Office for advice on how to resolve that difficulty, given the cross-cutting nature of this bill. And we could also ask the department, the Executive Department, to take responsibility for lead responsibility for responding at consideration stage to this bill. I'm sure Aileen can make some sense out of that.
Yes, I can. Deputy Chair, thank you. And
Thanks, Pat.
I can also draft a paragraph to include that action in the report, if members are content.
Okay. Members
Yes.
content to agree that proposal? Agreed?
Yes, that's a good idea. Thanks.
Agreed.
Thank you. I would just take you back in for one thing, just to look at the recommendations, members. So I've just tried to describe that issue of an educational programme, which it was also, I think, a proposal of the Deputy Chairs.
Page 15 of table packs?
Yeah.
Or, sorry,
yeah,
page
so
15
paragraphs
of the report.
49.
Yeah, so it'll be
49.
page 42 of the table packs. Which paragraph, sorry, Clark?
49 and 50, Chair.
Paragraphs 49 and 50 on page 42. Thanks, Clark.
Yeah. And I just have a note there as well at paragraph 51. The Department for the Economy's response referred to good practice in Scotland in developing an app to inform product users. I didn't know if that was something that the committee wanted to recommend as well. Or maybe, you leave that one for now.
I think that, so just to reprise those, Clark, paragraph 49, committee recommends implementation of the bill should be accompanied by an educational programme addressing societal attitudes, give rise to period stigma, and help explain and demystify periods and period products, including sustainable options. And then 51 notes the Department for Economy response in reference to Scotland's good practice in developing an app to inform product users of locations and other relevant information. Members content with the inclusion of those recommendations in the report. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed. Okay, Clark.
Yes, I'll round out that paragraph 51. Thank you, members.
No problem. Okay, any before I confirm the conclusion of the committee stage of the period products free provision bill, members, any other comments or? Nope. Okay, then this concludes the committee stage of the period products free provision bill. Are members content that the report will be published as advised on Friday the 4th of February? Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed. Thank you, members, and thanks for the work that everybody has undertaken to complete the committee stage of this really important bill. As I've said a number of times, the Education Committee was not, by logic at the lead committee in relation to this bill, but it required us to take on lead committee role in order for a committee stage of this bill to be completed. And I think we could be glad that we took that on, and that we've reached this point today, and that a consideration stage of the bill to address some of those wider issues will now be possible. And thank the proposer of the bill for his proactive, Pat Catney MLA, for his proactive engagement with the bill at all stages of committee stage. Okay, members, agenda item 8 then is the Education Curriculum CPR and AED Bill, formal consideration of the committee report on the bill. Can I refer members to a draft report on the committee stage of the bill at page 54 of your tabled papers, and remind members that as the committee stage will conclude today, the report must be agreed today. Can I advise members that the bill was withdrawn by the sponsor, and so the committee has not taken oral evidence on it or considered the clauses of the bill. Important for me to emphasise that the bill was withdrawn because the work of the bill proposer had been taken on by the Department of Education in a positive and cooperative manner, and that the principles and that the aims and the provisions of the bill will now be implemented and taken forward by the Department of Education. Can I also advise members that we'll proceed through the report section by section, asking the committee if it is formally content. Okay, so the first section is the contents page at page 55. Are members content with the contents page as drafted? Agreed?
Agreed.
Members content with the powers and memberships section, page 56, of table papers as drafted? Agreed?
Agreed.
Members content with the list of abbreviations and acronyms at page 58 of table papers? Agreed? Okay. Members, yeah, notwithstanding a genuine and a serious call for the reduction and eradication of the use of acronyms in an inappropriate way. Okay. Executive summary, page 59 of tabled papers. Members content with this section as drafted? Agreed?
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Members content with the introduction section at page 65 of tabled papers? Agreed?
Agreed.
Members content with appendices 1 to 9 as drafted? Agreed?
Agreed, Chair.
Okay, can I seek members' agreement then to order the report on the Education Curriculum CPR and AED Bill to be printed as the third report of the mandate?
Right.
Agreed, thank you. And to seek agreement for a copy of the minutes of today's meeting to be included in the report? Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Our members also agreed that an electronic copy of the bill report be published on the committee's webpage and sent to all organisations that provided evidence to the committee on the bill. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Okay, members, that concludes the committee stage of the Education Curriculum CPR and AED Bill. Are members content that the report will be published on Friday the 4th of February?
Agreed, Chair.
Agreed. Thank you, members. Okay, members, agenda item 9 then is any other business. Are members aware of any other business?
Sure.
Yes, Justin?
Just want to go back to what was discussed earlier in relation to what schools are experiencing right now in terms of absentees, both for pupils and staff, and how pressurised the situation that must be for all involved and for parents and families as well. How can we as a committee reach out to all of those, or ask the Minister to reach out and express solidarity with what they're going through, and to give them support, offer them comfort, to empathise with what's happening in schools right now?
I think in light of that, Justin, I think obviously we had agreed to write to the Education Committee, or to write the Education Minister to seek her urgent response on that matter. Perhaps you might wish to go further in that and request that, given the severity and the seriousness of those absence levels, that the Education Minister proactively give a statement to the Assembly. Might be one way to discharge what you suggest. Is that something you'd like to add to that correspondence from earlier?
I think that would be good, yeah.
Yeah. Members content to add that to the correspondence? Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay.
Thanks, members.
I agree, Justin. Obviously, the Education Committee has engaged on a number of occasions with the representative unions, and in addition to the Education Authority, I think it would be good for us to invite the Northern Ireland Teaching Council back to the committee as soon as possible, not least given those ongoing pressures. But I think if we request that the Education Minister would give an Assembly statement, as you say, to acknowledge the level of pressure and to reiterate what action is being taken to assist in response to that. Okay, any other business, members? No? Okay, then, a busy week of legislative business ahead next week, and our next formal committee meeting then will be on Wednesday, the 9th of February at 9:30 a.m. The committee meeting does now adjourn. Agreed?
Agreed. Thank you, Chair.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.